Hi, happy Wednesday. I'm going to give you the midweek rundown thus far. Well, apparently, a ceasefire was announced at the beginning of the week with a big ceremonial celebration. Well, the ceasefire seems to be over already. So there you have it. But we knew that was going to happen because, again, nothing was signed. There was no paperwork. Nothing that Donald Trump or the administration does never has any follow-up paperwork or plans or signatures on it, just like he claims that he made 7 deals so far with the economy, and we still have no deals, 0. So, more lies spewing from our administration's mouth as they make the rounds on that fake regime news called Fox News, which really legally should be sued until it's shut down. They just lied on that news. So today is day 15 of the shutdown already. So it's been, just over 2 weeks. And something I've noticed, there's a shift in the energy lately. And especially with the No Kings rally coming up on Saturday, it looks like the White House is panicking because they're really going around making the rounds on Fox News. They're trying to on CNN and ABC and other sources, but it's really not working. And MAGA Mike Johnson seems to be getting more nervous. He's lying more. Pam Bondi is doing her usual lying and accusatorial to the citizens of the United States and the people that are here in the United States. She's just basically declaring war on the people that live here in the United States, us. And so is the president. And there's a reason why they're nervous, because it's kind of like water. Water always finds a place to go. You could dam it up, but it's going to seep out around it, explode it, go over it. Water's going to creep through the soils. It's going to go wherever it can find the open space. And there's too much open space happening here because of social media being able to share across the country and the world what really is going on. That everything the people in the White House are saying is lies. And they're just so nervous because all the cracks are opening and the blue water seeping through. So they literally can't declare on us because, like, everybody has video footage of what's really going on here. No matter what somebody in the White House says, there's the complete opposite on video. Whereas they in the White House do not have what they say on video. It's just coming out of their mouth. So, for example, MAGA Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, was saying how law enforcement in Oregon is getting, attacked physically. There's tons of footage of the opposite happening. It just goes on and on and on. And they're nervous because social media can't hide things from these older white men that used to get away with this shit when they were growing up and coming up and getting older. Because back then you could get away with shit because we didn't have cameras in our hands as phones. We, the people of the world. So they don't understand that we have cameras in our hands with voice recording on it. And it just proves that they're lying. Which brings me up to the Supreme Court hearing today. Because this morning, there was a Supreme Court hearing, and I listened to the whole 2.5 hours. And I know what you're saying. What a nerd. No. A year ago, I wouldn't have been able to listen to that. But I wanted to listen to every word, and I thoroughly enjoyed every word. And it ran live, and the most interesting thing to me that stood out was, and I've been doing background diving on the Supreme Court Justice, otherwise known as SCOTUS. To those of you who are new at politics, it's Supreme Court of the United States, SCOTUS, like POTUS. So I've been making a list of sexual abusers in the White House and surrounding the White House and in the law right now. And Brett Kavanaugh, over the summer while I was conforming my list, appeared on my list because he had sexual allegations pointed and confirmed for the Supreme Justice. He had allegations of sexual assault in high school from a friend that went to school with him, Dr. Christine Ford. Okay, so she basically blew up her life to go and testify in the confirmation of Brett Kavanaugh's hearings. And she, in her recollection of 1982, said that Brett Kavanaugh pinned her down, tried to take her clothing off, and when she was trying to scream, he put his hand over her mouth. And she was giving these details, and she also said obviously she was looking at him right in the face. That's how she knows it was him. Now, let's go back to this. This happened in 1982 when men were more getting away with sexual abuse than they are now. To me, that doesn't seem like a long time ago because I lived it. I was in high school at that time as well. But we're talking 40 years ago, more or less. So if something happened to you in the 80s and you said something about it, like maybe Dr. Ford did, if she brought this up to her friends or her parents, she probably would have got hushed right away, or sure, or it's your word against his, so you can forget about it. I mean, anything that you could imagine has been told to girls when they say their truths. And I even had my great aunt, when she was in her 80s, she mentioned to me, finally in her 80s, she had freedom of saying when she was a young girl, she was raped in the neighborhood where she grew up in. And when she went to her mom, she basically said, stop saying that. Don't even get into that. And it was never talked about again. And not. So that was a long, almost a century ago. And you could see in the 80s, we've come a little bit further, but not even that much further. Because back then, if you were even sexually assaulted, forget about if someone had sex with you and you really didn't want to have sex with them. You were kind of stuck because of this kind of shit. So now Brett Kavanaugh is on our Supreme Court justice system. There's only 9 people that are allowed to sit on this bench this high because of their judgment and their temperament. And it's clear in the videotapes that you see of him in his confirmation of him totally losing control. He needs to go to an anger management. Obviously, I don't know if he has, but he's totally emotional. He's totally weird, and he totally gets angry in the Senate hearings, which
Kavanaugh came straight out of the gates weird in his opening statement, not just denying all her allegations, but almost breaking down while attempting to paint a folksy image of his time in high school.
I worked out with other guys at Tobin's house. He was the great quarterback on our football team. And his dad ran workouts.
Yeah, he's crying at the memory of lifting weights at his friend Tobin's house. I hate to say it, but I'm starting to think that men might be too emotional for the Supreme Court. And it wasn't just memories of a high school quarterback that was making him tear up.
I've always had a lot of close female friends. I remember talking almost every night, it seemed, to my friends Amy or Julie. Or Kristen, or Karen, or Suzanne, or Maura, or Megan, or Nikki. The list goes on.
Okay, that's not testimony, though, is it? That is a plaintiff's spoken word cover of Mambo number 5.
The allegation was unleashed and publicly deployed over Dr. Ford's wishes. And then, as no doubt was expected, if not planned, came a long series of false last-minute smears designed to scare me and drive me out of the process before any hearing occurred. Crazy stuff. Gangs, illegitimate children, fights on boats in Rhode Island.
Consume alcohol during your high school years?
Yes, we drank beer. My friends and I, the boys and girls, yes, we drank beer. I liked beer, still like beer. We drank beer. The drinking age, as I noted, was 18, so the seniors were legal. Senior year in high school, people were legal to drink. And we drank beer. And I said sometimes probably had too many beers, and sometimes other people had too many beers. We drank beer. We liked beer.
What do you consider to be too many beers?
I don't know. Whatever the chart says. I like beer. I don't know if you do.
Okay.
Do you like beer, Senator, or not? What do you like to drink?
Next one is
Senator, what do you like?
Judge.
So you're saying there's never been a case where you drank so much that you didn't remember what happened the night before or part of what happened?
You're asking about, blackout. I don't know. Have you?
Could you answer the question, Judge? That's not happened. Is that your answer?
Yeah, and I'm curious if you have. Calculated and orchestrated political hit, fueled with apparent pent-up anger about President Trump and the 2016 election, fear that has been unfairly stoked about my judicial record, revenge on behalf of the Clintons, and millions of dollars in money from outside left-wing opposition groups.
is unheard of up until most recently, but now it's very regular and we're almost predicted it's going to happen. But at the time, it was unheard of. And then to be confirmed to the highest status court of the country as a Supreme Court justice is just unheard of. He's also known for alcohol abuse, not just drinking alcohol, but abusing alcohol. And we all know there's a big difference in both. And they're also in the court testimonies. And one thing that I find really odd, and somebody tell me if they know, there was a film on Brett Kavanaugh and it was called Justice. It was actually a documentary. And it's nowhere to be found. I literally can't find it anywhere to watch. I've checked all the streaming platforms. I've checked online. It actually makes you think, what is going on here? Why can't I just watch this film, this documentary of one of my Supreme Court justices? It's the only thing I found was if I send in my name and why I want it to the producer, who's a well-known producer, I'm not saying I don't trust him, but what you have to know is they want you to request it via on a website, which you don't really know where you're submitting your name to, or they want you to submit something to this PO box that claims it's the producer's name. And why do I have to put myself in this questionable situation just to have access to a film on one of our public servants? So it's really crazy. So you could still find interviews online with him, and a person sits on our bench right now. And this morning they had a public hearing, and I was listening to the entire 2.5 hours. And Brett Kavanaugh, now I know his voice because I've been doing research on him for the last few months. You know, he brought up the fact this is a very important hearing that has a big decision on this country right now, and they're all
in the case over Louisiana's congressional map and whether the state can draw that map in such a way to ensure that minority voters are fairly represented. The two likely swing votes, Chief Justice John Roberts and Justice Brett Kavanaugh, appeared likely, just in the way they were talking and asking questions, to ban states from considering race when drawing district lines. Listen to Justice Kavanaugh in a key moment. He was questioning whether the country still needs that provision of the Voting Rights Act of 1965.
The issue, as you know, is that this court's cases in a variety of contexts have said that race-based remedies are permissible for a period of time, sometimes for a long period of time, decades in some cases, but that they should not be indefinite and should have an endpoint. And what exactly do you think the endpoint should be, or how would we know for the intentional use of race to create districts?
Now, this ruling has the potential to undermine, if not completely overturn, a core provision of the Voting Rights Act intended to ensure Black voters have adequate representation.
Acting like nothing's going on in this country right now. And when I say they, I say MAGA Republicans like Brett Kavanaugh. They're acting like nothing's going on out of the usual right now when we all know it is. We have it on film. We're all documenting it right now as we're living it and going through it. So he's one of the 9 people that are deciding our country's future. And this case is being delivered from Louisiana, which is MAGA Mike's state of representation, on redistricting the maps fairly. And so this Supreme Justice Court hearing that they're actually debating today about Louisiana remapping of their voting lines is basically against our Constitution as usual. And what Judge Kavanaugh, Brett Kavanaugh, suggested today was, well, maybe the Civil Rights Act of 1960, I think it's 3, don't quote me on that, is outdated and we don't even need it anymore. Is that bizarre? If anything, we need it just as much this year as we did then when it came into law to have fair representation across your state. They should have a third representation across the state of Louisiana, and they have 1 person out of 7 right now. And now, of course, Trump wants more than that. They're already unbalanced according to what the Constitution says should be balanced. And it's insane to actually hear it being debated, but at least it's being debated because over the summer, while SCOTUS, the Supreme Court, took vacation, Trump seems to have them on speed dial, and he would call up an emergency docket to them, and they would answer yes or no to his request, and without any deliberation or arguments or facts or proofs like we had today, they would come up with a decision immediately, which is unheard of and totally, in my eyes, against the Constitution. Everything that's going on is against the Constitution right now. And yes, you should be worried, but don't be scared, because we, the people, are the biggest body of government. And that's why they're nervous, because they don't have it figured out, and they are trying to rig it because they know people have eyes and feelings and intuition, and they could actually see what's going on in the economy and with their conduct of how they're treating people. And this Brett Kavanaugh, the way he treated this woman in high school is just a snapshot of our government and how they treat women and women's rights and other so-called marginalized people. You know, we're calling immigrants marginalized. We're calling women marginalized. We're calling brown skin marginalized and black, and genders and sex preferences. None of that is marginalized. We're not marginalized. You're labeling us as marginalized, which is insanity. You marginalize us. We're not marginalized. So it even hurts my soul to even use that word. But, you know, seeing Brett Kavanaugh talk just a few years ago in his hearings to be confirmed to Congress was just, like I said, a snapshot of what he represents to women and humankind, of what Donald Trump and his best buddy Epstein feels about women and humankind. Epstein actually called him once in a limo on the way to the Bronx or Brooklyn, the king of white trash. It's time for a change, and it's time to stop, because now it's completely transparent. He wanted transparency. Well, he's got it, especially with social media. You could buy all the companies like you're trying to, but all the water is still gonna seep through no matter what, because water is cool like that. Water's like magic, as Elmo used to say on PBS when my kids used to watch it. Water, you can bathe in it, you could drink it, you could boil food in it, you could shower in it. It runs across the whole earth. I mean, there's so many magical, cool facts about water. And the cool fact about water here in my comparison is you can buy everything you think you have to buy, which are billions and billions of dollars and corporations. But social media is out there. Human beings are out there. And we're never going to let this happen to our country. So you might as well give up now. Pam Bondi, Kristi Noem, Donald Trump, Pete Hegseth, Scott Bassett, Fox News, Stephen Miller, all of you, and all of you corporate billionaire people that have used the working families for generations to gain your wealth and suppress us and just do what you want now and think you can take over the country too. Well, I got news for you. It's not going to fucking happen. It's really not. And if you watch videos, you will see it's already not happening, and they know it. So with this shutdown, there's been a shift. There's been a shift with the shutdown. You can label it Trump. You can label it Schumer. It doesn't matter. This shutdown has made a shift into reality for most Americans that didn't even see this coming. Some of us have seen it coming, but others didn't. But now they have. The truth is here. More Wednesday updates. We're still on day 15 of the shutdown. The Donald Trump's cronies have defunded Alaska of $20 million for flooding protection. They have taken this away from Alaska, and I'm not surprised because of how they did not help Texas at all. I won't even go into what they didn't do to save these people, but they are already rebuilding the camp for the girls on the same exact grounds where they died. They still haven't even found them all, but they're already redistricting the voting maps for Donald Trump. So apparently there was a typhoon in Alaska, and Trump's not helping them. They're not letting the funds go to them to keep the safety measures that Biden had put into place. You know, this administration has taken it away, and Texas proved that with all their deaths with that disaster that happened. And now they have just taken $20 million away from Alaska. So thanks for voting on that big, beautiful bill, Miss Senator from Alaska at the last minute and turning your people under the bus. That's what you get when you're playing cards with a cheater. He's going to cheat. Cheater's going to cheat. Liar's going to lie. No, the Wall Street Journal put out an article today that the grocery prices keep rising. Oh, like I didn't know that. I live here. Of course I know it. Also go on in this article that's saying people are starting to stockpile items too, like they did during COVID. That's how bad it's getting. And don't forget who was the president during COVID. And don't forget who was the president during the January 6th riots. Trump. He seems to have forgot that in the last few days because he mentioned it was Biden who put in the FBI people or something like that. It's fucking delusional. Let's all just wake up and come together. These ads she's filming, you know, after how many hours in hair and makeup, and then she's praising Donald Trump. Again, just like they did at the news conference the other day. They're like cheerleaders that cost a lot of money and do a lot of wreckage to our country. So we're paying for these ridiculous commercials of her praising Donald Trump. Okay? He's physically disgusting and out of shape. He is mentally disgusting and out of shape, which only leads to, you know, body, mind, and soul connection. If he has a soul, it's disgusting and needs a lot of work as well. Okay? So stop spending our money on these praise commercials and start doing some work, some good work for the people. Okay? Stop spending the money on building the ballroom at the White House, our house. You guys are tenants there. That's our house. You shut down the government, but the ballroom's still being built. The fuck's up with that? It shouldn't even be being built. And now it's the only thing running, but you can't pay workers? It's ridiculous. What else in the daily update? Yeah, something's going on with TikTok. They're like taking stuff down now already. and freezing accounts. Some really weird crap is going on with TikTok already. And, oh, this is one of my favorites. Time magazine has put a huge picture with an article on Donald Trump that he is running rapid about. He apparently likes the article, of course, but he doesn't like the view of him. Donald, I got news for you. Any view of you is disgusting. But the view they have of him is his neck, like from down here. And they're saying it looks like a vagina. Don't fucking put down vaginas that way. Don't even call his neck a vagina. Vaginas are gorgeous. They're powerful and they're sought after by everyone. They bring human beings into the world. And they do it with strength and power. And then revitalize. Nobody realizes that. Being a pussy, and I've explained this to my sons during, football games. I know you're thinking, oh my God, your poor sons. No, but seriously, people downplay the word pussy or, oh, his neck looks like a vagina. But if you're calling someone a pussy, you're really calling that person something of complete strength. Something connected to the higher source because it brings a miracle into this earth from nowhere. All of us come from a vagina, or if you have to have an emergency C-section. But think about how strong your vagina has to be. So if you're calling someone a pussy, and I'm sorry if I'm making someone uncomfortable right now, but you're using the term wrong. A pussy is strength. It's beauty. It's miraculous. It brings miracles into the world. It brings human life into the world. It's connected to source life. It pushes out human beings on a daily basis. Think of how strong that is. And then it bounces back and can do it again and again. So if you want to give someone a compliment, you call them a pussy. Because, like I said, everyone goes after it, apparently, right? Even men that are sexual abusers, they want pussy. Because they don't have one. And they never will. So they always try to force the issue on someone that does. So the next time you call someone a pussy, reverse it. Okay, one more thing for a Wednesday update is Netanyahu, Israel's prime minister, appeared in the courthouse today because he is being tried for bribery, fraud, and breach of trust. And even though our president put in a good word for him and said that he shouldn't be, from one international lawbreaker to another. And I'm glad to see that there was protesters out there too. So keep at it, Israel. There was protesters out there demanding accountability for their leader. And I hope to see it, because wouldn't that be grand? Because when we get accountability for our current leaders, not just the president, it's going to be a wonderful day for this country and for the world. That's it, y'all. Over and out. Have a great Wednesday. I don't know if everybody still calls it hump day still, like we did in the 80s. But, yeah. Have a great week. I'll talk to you soon. Love y'all. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. Thanks for coming here and watching. My channel's starting to grow. I'm so little excited. So, yeah. Thanks for coming and listening to me update y'all. Because I know So if you're here and you were drawn to come here, I appreciate it. And I hope you continue to visit. So thank you so much. Talk to you soon.